Okay, good morning. So welcome back, and we're going to do essentially one more kind of exercise in the forecasting from chapter 14. And this one will be a little bit different. I think you'll like it. We're going to get some uh, updated data and do some just simple stock market forecasting. Okay, nothing crazy, but kind of a different assignment. I think it'll be kind of a nice change from doing a textbook example. So we'll do this one today. This is going to be due next Monday along with example 14.7 and 14.8. And then starting next Monday, we'll jump into chapter 10 and do some simulation models. Okay, so this one's just like a normal assignment. It's worth the same amount, and it's due in the discussion forum as well. So it's going to go right there when you're done with it, and we'll kind of work through that today. But just uh, a little bit different, but counts as the same, goes in the same place. And again, due next Monday, just like the syllabus shows. Okay, so if you want to go to the assignment stock market forecasting section, all right, there's only one document because we're going to get our own data. And so you can open that up, and this has the instructions here. Okay, so what we're going to do is each of you are gonna pick a stock or an IPO to look at. All right, and we're gonna get some data on it, and we're just gonna apply some of the simple forecasting methods that we've learned in this class, and try to make a little forecast for the next months of data, the next month of data. Okay, so you're probably gonna be predicting what the average price is for May. All right, and so there's no, you don't have to. I mean, just doing the assignment gets you full credit. You don't have to get the forecast right or anything because it's a forecast. But here's what we're doing. So we're going to choose one stock to forecast. All right, and so you can choose. Students can choose the same thing, but hopefully you want to choose different. I don't want to get 15 people choosing Starbucks or something, but we'll see what we choose. So you're going to choose a stock, and you're going to get all the monthly data from Yahoo Finance, and I'll show you to do that. It's pretty easy. And we'll put the data in Excel, and we're only looking at the closing price because it's a time series, so we only need one variable, right? So we're going to look at the average monthly closing price over time, and whatever stock you choose, you're going to use that historical data to make a little forecast using a couple methods we've learned thus far in this class. Okay, so first thing you want to do is that you can click on this link. This should take you to Yahoo Finance. It's pretty easy to find Yahoo Finance. You can also Google it, but I think this is an active link. Let's try clicking on this. Yeah, so here we go. And normally if you put like the keyword or whatever you're trying to search for, you should be able to find it. And so what we want to do now is let's see, well, there's only three of you here right now. So go ahead and pick something that you want to look at. All right, it doesn't, you don't have to do like a research project. You're just looking at the data. And I'll pick something as an example that you three are not choosing. So why don't each of you, since there's only three of you, go ahead and pick a stock you wanna look at for this assignment, and just post it to the chat there. All right, so just pick something. I don't care what it is, and then after you three pick something, I'll pick something that's not what you picked as an example. So take a minute or so and just think of something some stock data you want to look at. It could be something relevant to what's going on in the economy, something like I don't know who owns Zoom, but whoever owns Zoom probably his stock is doing well. And other companies that like Airline company. Okay, Amazon. And okay, so and who else? We got okay, Ryan, Raymond, and then Timothy. Do you want to pick something? Okay. Well, Bitcoin. Okay. Well, is that can you do that? Let's see. Oh, I guess so. Okay. Yeah. You go ahead. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. So you can choose. You three can choose those ones you chose, and I think if you just search for the main keyword, it should find it. So like the first one, General Electric. Okay. So if you search it for it, just click on that first one that says GE. Usually the first one is the most popular or the right one. So that's yours. Amazon should I think is AMZN. Yep, this one. Click on that one, and then Bitcoin I think was that first one. Yeah, that one right there. Okay, so those are those ones, and then let me pick something as an example. Um, with something that's not well. I wonder if I can do this one. Okay, yeah, I'll do Costco. How about that? All right, so let me do Costco as an example, and so that means that any other students who are doing this assignment, like I know some students aren't here but are going to watch the video and follow along. So don't choose Costco because that's what I'm using as an example. So I'm going to post some examples using Costco. So you can choose anything but Costco. You can choose one of the stocks that Ryan, Raymond, and Tim chose. Preferably something new, but there's no restriction there because you're not doing it together. But just choose anything but Costco because I'm going to do an example here. So let's click on this one. All right, so if you clicked on your page, whatever it was for the three of you, it should take you here. And what you want to click on is there's a little tab that says historical data. Okay, click on that. All right, and then there's a couple menu options. So you want to change the time period. See where it says time period, hit that little arrow and just choose the max button because that's going to give you all of it. So hit max, just it should do it. So hit the max button. Okay, and your time period is going to be different because it depends on when the stock went public. Obviously, Bitcoin has not been public for very long. Amazon's probably went public in the 90s or something like that, and General Electric has probably got the oldest one. So it's just depends on when your stock went public. Okay, so choose the max there. Leave that as historical prices, and we want to change the frequency to monthly. Okay, and then hit apply. Okay, so max historical prices monthly, and then hit the apply button, and that's going to refresh it and give you the data here. Um, okay, and so once it loads or refreshes, look, it shouldn't take too long. You're going to click this download button. Okay, and that's going to download the file in a CSV format. which is a comma separated value. And so just open it up. Okay, so we're gonna resave your data in an Excel file because you can't do all the features in CSV format. But the first step is just getting this file. So we're all three of you able to get the CSV file with the monthly data for those three stocks. So you should have the date and these open, high, low, close, adjusted close volume columns. So you should have something like this for your stock. So if you did not get this, let me know and I'll help you get this. All right. So what we want to do, I think, the first step is just to save it as an Excel file because uh, the reason why a lot of data is saved or available as CSV is because the format it takes up much less space. It's a compressed format, so it doesn't take as much cloud space or whatever. But to do all the features we need, the data analysis, we need to put this into an Excel file. So just go ahead and save this as an Excel file. So just hit File, Save As, and wherever you want to save it, choose, but change the format here to Excel workbook. So your extension at the end should be .xlsx, just like all the other Excel files. So just change that, save it wherever. Okay, so I'm going to save mine here. So just make sure you're saving it as an Excel workbook. All right, and you can just leave it. I think the default name is whatever the stock uh, symbol is, and you can leave it at that as you if you want. Okay, so now you should have your data here as an Excel file, and it's got all the same columns, but you got the this stuff, and yeah, it's saved as an Excel file. All right, so we're going to be working with this. Okay, so it says in the assignment that we only need one of the columns, the closing price. Okay, so the rest of the stuff, I think it's easier just to delete it and remove it from your analysis because you don't need it for this assignment. So what we're going to do, okay, go to your file and you're going to delete everything except the date column and the close column. So uh, if you want to select like B, C, D, and E like that, or not, you want to select B, C, D, and so you can select open, high, and low, or the whole B, C, and D column, and just delete it. Home tab, and then hit the delete button up here. Okay, and you only want the closing price, so you can delete the C and the D column as well. So you can click on the C and the D column, select it all, and under Home tab, hit the delete button up here, and that's going to leave you with what you need for this assignment. So if you're following along, whatever General Electric, Amazon, Bitcoin data you have, you should have the date here and the closing here, and that's it. All right. So first thing that let's do before we start the analysis is this is the closing price. This is the price in US dollars. Okay, so let's make it so it's clear what these numbers are. So I just want to format the B column or the closing price column as currency. So click on the B column and then under Home tab, uh, Format, Format Cells, currency, and you can leave it with the 2 decimals and the dollar sign and hit OK. Okay, so there we go. So we got your closing price, whatever the first day it went public. So mine, it looks like it was August 1986. I didn't know Costco was that old, but and yeah, it should have your most recent date, your most recent observation should be 4/1 April, because that's the average price for this month, and then we're going to try to predict the average price for next month. So when you go down to the bottom, your last one or your most current one should be 4/1. Oh, Costco's really done well. Okay, all right, everyone good here? We got our data and our closing price in dollars. Okay, all right, we've done step one. Okay, so we're going to estimate a couple types of forecasting techniques that we did in class: a moving average and a simple exponential smoothing. So first, I guess this is in step three, but the first thing we want to do is just look at the time plot, make sure that that's good. So the first thing is let's just make a time plot and see what your data looks like over time. So if you got all this, just select everything. If you hit Control A, that selects all the data. Okay, so Control A, select all. All right, and you got all your data selected. Okay, so it starts with A1 and gets all of it. Depends on how much you have. Okay, and then let's go ahead and make a chart or a graph. So insert column. Let's do this one, the one that says insert line or area chart, and just choose the first one, which is line chart. Okay, so you should get something like that. All right, so we got over here, we'll do some formatting. Over here is the closing price, and down here is the month. All right, and so that's what you should get. And depending on how well your stock has performed over the time period, you'll see that. And it should look similar to what you saw on the Yahoo Finance page. Okay, so if you go back to the Yahoo Finance page and click on Summary and click on right here that says Max. Right, so it's a little bit smaller, but the graph you got should look similar to what you see here from your Yahoo Finance page. So it's the same thing, but it should just confirm that you got your data correctly. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and add a few. So let's do a little formatting. And again, this is your project. You can change the style, change the color, whatever. But I'll just keep it as default for now. Let's hit the plus sign. Let's unclick chart title and let's click axes titles. Okay, and this is going to be um, the closing price. All right, and this is going to be the date. Okay, and you know what? Let's keep the let's put the title back because that way I can see what your stock is. Uh, so we got the closing price label here. We got the date here. If you want to click on the plus sign again and recheck the chart title, just go ahead and title it whatever the stock symbol is. So mine is Costco. Okay, so just put your title is whatever I think the name is saved down here. All right, so whatever your stock symbol is, just so I know what you chose. Um, yeah. So we got our closing prices here. We got our dates here. And remember, if you're using a Mac or something like that, you can choose the options from up here. Um, click on the chart design, add chart element, and you got your axis titles options, your chart titles, and you can do everything over there. And yeah, so we got your stock. This is the closing price. This is the date. All right, and you got your data over time. And maybe we can format this to take away the zeros. It's kind of unnecessary if you want to. So just click on that and right click it and try hitting format axes. And if you scroll down, you should see number. Okay, and this is optional, but if you want, you can change the decimals to 0. Okay, and just hit and just choose that. All right, so there we go. So you don't really need all those zeros there. Okay. Okay, so everyone good so far? We got our chart. We got the labels, the closing price, the date. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So if you fall behind or you need me to do something again, just let me know. All right. So we've got the time plot, and the main thing is we're gonna estimate a moving average and then a simple exponential smoothing and get forecasts from each of those with the errors. All right. So we've done this in some other examples, but let's do it for our data. And again, you have everyone has different data, including me. So we're going to get different numbers, and so you can't really verify that you got the same numbers, but because we're using different data. But it should make sense. So let's make some labels. Let's make a section here. Let's see. Um, since we're doing monthly stock price data, it's usually pretty volatile. So I think the best thing to do is to put just put a lot of emphasis on what just happened this month or last month. Okay, so I think we'll estimate a moving average of 2 and an exponential smoothing with an alpha equals 0.9, and we'll just do those. Okay, so let's call column C in C1 MA1, or sorry, MA2. Okay, you can do it like that. Okay, and then we'll get the errors next to it. Um, did I want to? Yeah. Okay, and let's call column D1 error, and let's call column E1 APE, APE for absolute percentage error. Okay, then let's just make sections for the exponential smoothing, even though we haven't got there yet. But for F1, let's call this alpha equals 0.9. Okay, then in G1, let's call this error. And in H1, let's call this APE. Okay, so we got our labels next to we got date, we got close, and we're going to do an MA with the error and the APE, and exponential smoothing alpha equals 0.9. And get that error and that APE, and then we'll compare them. Okay, so one thing I like to do with this, if you have a long piece of data, is to freeze the top row. All right, so we did this, but if you want to click on, uh, where is it, View, and then here's the freeze panes option. Hit that, and you can choose freeze top row. All right, so see that when you scroll, you can see where you are. All right, that'll freeze the top row. And then also, um, sometimes it's easier just to color this section so you know what's what. All right, so if you want to, I'm going to go ahead and select C1, D1, and E1. Okay, because this all has to do with the moving average. I'm going to go ahead and color this. If you hit the highlight color, I'll just highlight it, I don't know, the green one, light green. And then this stuff, F1, G1, and H1. Okay, that all goes with the exponential smoothing, so I'm going to give that a separate color, maybe light blue. Okay, so now it's a little bit easier to see. This is our historical data. This is going to be our moving average stuff, and this is going to be our exponential smoothing stuff. All right. Okay. So now we're going to estimate a moving average and do the errors, and we'll do the same for the exponential smoothing, and we'll get forecasts. And yeah, let's okay. So okay, let's do the moving average first. So click on data and data analysis. Okay, and where it says moving average, choose that. Hit OK. Your input range is going to be the whole B column. So for me, it's B1. B1 to B418. So select the whole B column. It's going to be a different range because it depends on how much data you have. But select all the B column for your data. Okay, and then hit that button. Click on the labels in first row box. Interval is 2. Okay, and your output range is going to be in the C column. So you can just specify your output range, or let's just select it. So choose the output range box, and let's choose C1 all the way down. Okay, so it's going to be C1 to the all the way to the end. All right, see how it's the same ending piece as, or sorry, C2, all the way to the all the way to your April cell. Okay, so yours is going to look a little bit different, but double check here. Your input range is B1 to whatever the last observation is. This is checked. Labels in first row, interval is 2, and your output range is C2 to whatever your last observation is. Okay, so this number, the 418, the B418, C418, should refer to your April observation. Okay, so yours is going to say B1 to something, and C2 to something, but the range is going to be different because we all have different uh, ranges of data. Okay, hit OK. All right, so that should have done a moving average process for your stock, right? So in the MA2 column, you should have a bunch of calculations that did the moving average of 2 for all your data pieces. Yeah? Okay. Then let's do a couple things here. Let's in C2 you probably have that hashtag NA text. You can just delete that. Okay, and I want to because Excel usually formats the moving average process like I want it to be moved down one. So all you got to do is click on that blank cell or click on C2 and under Home tab, hit the Insert button up here. See that? Okay, and that's just going to move it down one. Oh, I don't want that to be that. Okay, and so you can see the first one should start in C4. All right, so that's the average of B2 to B3. And then this one should be average of B3 to B4. So you keep moving the average of 2. And if you go all the way down to the bottom, okay, you should have a calculation um, after April. Actually, let's put in that date we're predicting. We're predicting 5/1/2021. Okay, so just put that after four. So you see, I put the month we're trying to forecast. So you should have data up to April. You're just making a little prediction for May. So
Wait,
just
Professor.
yes.
How'd you like move the cell again? Like,
Oh yeah, sure.
that's
Okay, so all we did, actually, let's back. Uh, oops. Okay, here we go. All right, so you got your moving average process, right? And I think in the first cell in C2, you had that text that just said not available, so you can just delete that, right? And so now you got just a blank cell here, right? And so what you want to do is just click on that blank cell, which is C2, okay? And then under Home tab, just hit the Insert button up here, the big button up on the top menu. All right, hit the Insert button, and that's just going to move it down one. And then if it does this, you can just reformat that. But that should put it down so your first one starts in C4. Okay, did that work?
yeah. Thanks.
Okay, and then yeah, then go down to the bottom and make a little label for the month you're forecasting. Okay, which is 5/1/2021. Okay, and then everyone needs to double check here that this cell, so for 5/1 under the MA2 column, your calculation in the C column, right? It's not gonna be C419 because it depends on which how much data you have, but this one for 5 should be the average of March and April. So see how it's the average of those last two? Okay, so double check that your MA2 calculation for 5/1 is in fact the average of the last two closing prices for March and April. So see how that's that? Okay, so it should be somewhat, this is 350, this is 370. So my prediction is 360. So it should be something in the range of what you've seen. So yeah, so just look at your so if March was 350 and April was 370, well, that's a pretty big jump for and then so my average is or my prediction is 360. Okay, everybody everybody good here? Okay, let's now get the errors for let's get the error and the AP for the closing for the moving average of 2 compared to the closing price. Okay, so the error it's going to be starting in starting in D4 equals um, B4 minus C. Okay, so it's just B4 minus C4. It's how far off the prediction was from the actual historical data. Okay, so equals B4 minus C4. And then you can go ahead and click on D4 and drag it all the way down to the bottom like this. Okay, so all the way down to April. Okay, so your last one should be B from April minus C from April. Okay, and then right here, I want to see what the average error is because it should be somewhere around zero. It shouldn't be. You want to make sure it's fluctuates around zero. Um, so in D, in the D cell for May, take the average equals average. Okay, so it's going to be the average of D4 all the way down to to the April observation for uh, D column. So it's the average of all the errors that you got up to April.
Hey, Professor, could I see the average equation again?
Yeah, so it's not, but make sure it depends on your range. So it's just the average of this D column. So you want to take the average of starting with D4 all the way down to the last one. So see how mine goes D4 to where is it? D4 to D418. All right, you want to go D4 to whatever this one is for April. So the basically the whole D column. Just take the average of it. Okay, that work?
Wait, is it including the 419 or is it just to 418?
Um, what? The
Like of the D column? Like,
oh no. So not including the 419. Sorry. So but yeah.
okay.
So the average of everything up to the this point. Yeah. But I'm sure that these numbers these uh, rows are different because it depends on how much data you have. So you want the average of everything up to April. So it's basically the cell right above whatever this one is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay. Next thing is let's get the APE for the moving average. So I know that first, let's just format the E column to be a percentage. So if you want to click on the E column and just hit this under the Home tab, you see the percent option. You can hit that. That should do it. All right, starting in E4, let's get the first APE, which is equals. Okay, ABS, absolute value of B4 minus C4 divided by B4. All right, so equals ABS, double parenthesis, B4 minus C4, close parenthesis, divided by B4, and then close parenthesis. So the actual minus the prediction over the actual, which is the absolute value of B4 minus C4 divided by B4. All right, and then if you want, you can add a couple decimals. Click on the E to select the whole E row or the E column, and it should have this option here, which is increase decimal. You hit that a couple times. Okay, and then let's go ahead and apply this down. So click on your formula, or click on E4 and grab the bottom right corner and drag it all the way down to the bottom. Okay, all the way down to April. And again here, we're going to take the average of the APE, which is in fact the MAPE. Okay, so right next to this one, just go to the E column right there for May and take the average of the E column. So equals average. Okay, average of E4, all the way down to this last one for April. So it's going to be up to this one. All right, so it's in the same range, but it's in the E column, and you can hit enter. Okay, so what we've got here is this is our prediction month, which is May, next month. All right, and then you should have now a moving average of 2, prediction for May, a average error, and average APE, which is the MAP. So I'm just going to highlight these key values in the green, the same color, so we know it goes with the moving average. Okay, so does everyone have their, here's your moving average of 2 for May. Here is your average error, all right, the average of all the errors. And this is your MAP, which is the average of all the APs. Okay, so we still got to do the exponential smoothing, but you should have this stuff. All right, so you need these key values for your assignment when you turn it in. So you need the MA2 forecast, you need the average error, and you need the MAP. Okay, everyone, all three of you good on this here?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, now we're going to do the exponential smoothing. Okay. Okay, so we've done this one. Let's go ahead and do this one. Okay, so we're going to use data analysis again. So sorry. Okay, so home tab, data tab, data analysis, and you want to choose exponential smoothing, right? That one there. Hit OK. All right, input range, hit that button, is the whole B column again. So it's B1 to whatever the last one is. Okay, B1 to April. Um, our damping factor should be 0.1. Okay, 1 minus alpha is 0.1. Click on the labels box, and then the output range is F2. Okay, F2 to all the way to April. So if you hit that, all right. So here's what yours should look like. Okay, your input range is going to be B1 to the last observation for April. Your damping factor is going to be 0.1. Your labels box is checked, and your output range should be F2 to F418. So these two ranges should be 1 to 418, and this should be F2 to or whenever your April one is. But the last cell should be the same. Okay, so input range B1 to April 2021. Uh, 0.1 labels, and then output range is F2 to April 2021. So this should be the same um, number that you selected before. All right, let's hit OK, and that should put some values in there. That should do the moving average thing in the F column. All right, so let's do a few things. Let's delete that NA thing in F2. All right, let's format all these to be currency. Okay, so if you just click on the F column, select all the F stuff, and Home tab. Okay, Home tab, Format, Format Cells, and then Currency. And you can leave it with 2 decimals and the $sign. You can change that. So currency category is currency, 2 decimals and the $sign. And hit OK. Okay, so these are our exponential smoothing forecasts. If you go down to the bottom, okay, the one you want to get for your forecast is just applying the formula one more cell. So go down to, you're in the F column, and this is the one for April, the very last one. And what you want to do is just grab the bottom right corner and drag it down one like this. Okay, so I want you to check now that for your May column in the F cell, all right, this prediction in the May column in the F cell should be equals 0.9 times the observation from April plus 0.1 times the April observation in the F column. So it's basically 0.9 times the last observation plus 0.1 times the last forecast. So see how my May is 0.9 times that plus 0.1 times that. And my prediction would be 368.25. So it's a little bit different than the moving average. But double check that your May calculation kind of looks like this. So you should, when you click on it and double check, it should be 0.9 times the B column observation from April plus 0.1 times the F observation from April. All right, so we got the exponential smoothing process and the forecast here. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get the error comparing the exponential smoothing to the closing price. All right, so in G3 um, equals B3 minus F3. Okay, the actual closing minus the prediction. So yeah, B3 equals B3 minus F3. Enter. All right, and then let's apply that down to all the data. All right, so grab the bottom right corner of G3 and start dragging it down. Okay, all the way to April. And then this one, right next to the forecast, just take the average of this column. All right, so just like we did before, for May in G, just take the average of all the errors. So equals average of G3, okay, all the way to the bottom, so G3 to April. So for me, it's average of G3 to G418, but just take the average of this whole error, this whole G column. Okay, so next thing is let's do the APE part, and let's first click on the H column, and if you want, you can click on the H column and choose the format is if you're on the Home tab, you can change the format to the percent symbol. Okay, so we format the H column as percentages. All right, and let's do the first APE in H3, which equals, okay, ABS of, okay, ABS of B3 minus F3 divided by B3. All right, so remember it's the absolute value of actual minus predicted divided by actual, so that equals the absolute value, ABS, of double parenthesis B3 minus F3 divided by B3. Okay, and enter. Okay, and if you want, you can add a couple decimals if you click on the H column, and under Home tab, if you hit this increase decimal, you can increase a couple decimals. All right, so you got your first APE here, and let's just apply it down the rest of the data. All right, so click on H3, grab the bottom right corner and start dragging it down. Okay, all the way to April. And then we know what we're doing here. We're going to take the average of all the APEs, and that's going to be the MAPE for the exponential smoothing. So in May, just take the average of all these APEs equals average, okay, of H3 to, for me it's H3 to H418, but it's H3 for you to whatever your last April one is. So the average of the whole H column. Okay, and then I'm going to highlight these cells to be the same color as the blue, so we can kind of group it together. So if you want to highlight F41 or whatever the May observation is for F, G, and H. Okay, so here we should have, so for your May, your prediction, your forecast, you should have the exponential smoothing forecast, which is essentially zero point 0.9 times the last observation plus 0.1 times the last forecast in the F column. And this one should be the average of all the errors. And this one should be the average of all the APs, which is in fact the MAP. Okay, so you got these three important things for the moving average, and then these three things for the exponential smoothing. Okay, so everyone got all this stuff? Okay. All right, so what else we, okay, so we did that. Okay, so now you're basically just going to make a summary of what you found. And so in your assignment, you can just open up like a blank Word document, and I want you to put in the time plot. I want you to put in the moving average forecast with the equation and the average error and the average APE, and the same for the exponential smooth. Okay, so I'll show you what to do. So I think the best thing to do is just open up a blank Word document. Okay, and then save it somewhere so you have it with the other data. Okay, so first thing you want to do is the first thing is you want to put the time plot. Okay, so just copy and paste the time plot into your Word document. Okay, so first thing, let's just put the time plot in there. Okay, so it should be pretty easy. Just if you just select the chart you made and copy it, Control C. And just go to your blank Word document and paste it. If you just hit Control V to paste, all right, that should do it. That should just put it there. Okay, so you got your time plot, and then I want to just make a little summary of the moving average, and then a little summary of the exponential smoothing. So I'm going to just make a little section. Okay, so I want what I want you to do here is just just kind of type in the equation for your forecast. So basically, um, let's type in MA2 like that. And if you want, you can well, let's put it equals. And this is well, let's just put it up here. So under your title, this is the moving average forecast for uh, May. Okay, moving average forecast for May 2021. All right, so your MA2 equals. Okay, so I want you to type in the last, how you're getting the moving average forecast. It's basically the last two observations. Okay, so I'll show you where I'm getting that from mine. Okay, so you're just telling me how you got this number. So I want you to know that this number is just the average of the last two observations. So see how this is March and this is April, and that's how I got this number. Okay, so when you show on your equation, you're gonna take in the value from. Um, let me see if I can do this with the split screen. Okay, so I got my screen split, so hopefully you can see both things, and so I can show you where I'm getting things. All right, so the MA calculation is going to be how you got this number. Okay, so it's going to be equals the closing price from March, which for me is 352.48, plus the closing price for April, which for me is 370.21. Okay, and a moving average of 2 is just take the average of 2. So just divide it by 2. All right, and that gives you this number here, whatever it is. So for May, when I took the average of those two, I got 361.35. Okay, so all you're doing here is just showing the simple calculation of how you got the moving average forecast, which is always going to be the average of the last two observations. Okay, so put in that number there for here, for yours, 352.48 or whatever yours is, and then the April one, and then that dictates how you got this. So basically, I'm saying that the moving average of 2 is calculated by taking 352.48 plus 370.21 divided by 2, which gave me 361.35. Okay, and then just go ahead and make a note of your average error and your your MAP. So under this, okay, so your average error should be whatever number, whatever value you got here. All right, for me it's 1.29, and your MAPE should be whatever you got here, and for me it's 6.80%. So these numbers that you highlighted, you're just putting those into your assignment. So here's the 361.35, the 1.29, and the 6.80%. And again, you're just showing how you calculated this one. Maybe I'll make it on a highlight here for this one. All right, and then the last thing you want to do is just make a little summary for the exponential smoothing. All right, let's call this final section exponential smoothing forecast for May 2021. And now we're going to show how you got the exponential smoothing prediction and put in the average error and the MAP for that one. All right, that's it. So your alpha, okay, so your alpha equals 0.9, or maybe let's put this in like, okay, so I want you to show how you got the alpha equals 0.9, how you got this number. So I'm going to show how I got the 368.25. Okay, and it's going to be 0.9 times the April number plus 0.1 times the April forecast. Oops. Okay, so it's basically um, 0.9. Okay, times your May closing price. I mean, sorry, your April closing price. For me, it's 370.21. Okay, and then plus 0.1 times your April alpha equals 0.9 prediction, which for me in the F column is 350.57. All right, and that tells me how I got this number, the 368.25. All right, so again, I'm just verifying that you understand the simple equation here. So I'm showing how I got this 368.25, which is, for me, equals zero. If you double check the formula, it'll tell you equals 0.9 times 370.21 plus 0.1 times 350.57. So if you click on the formula in your Excel file, it'll tell you what the numbers you need to put here are. All right, and then put our average error. Okay, my average error is 0.96, and the MAP is 6.04%. All right, so just in your little summary or what you're going to turn in, you're going to have your chart, okay, the historical time chart, the summary for the moving average forecast for May, and you just want to put the simple equation for how you got this number, and then put in your error and your APE from your data, okay, and then for the exponential smoothing, you want to put the calculation for how you got this number, all right, from your data from your forecast, and just throw in the average error and the MAP. So you're making a summary of the time plot and then how you got these numbers. Okay, which are in fact your predictions and errors for the next month, which would be May. All right, and so also just double check that your predictions, like whatever you got for this and for this, make some sense. Like my historical data is in the 350s and 370s, so these make sense. And so make sure it's something in the realm of what you would expect from your last last observation. Okay. So basically, this is all you need to turn in. This is the assignment that you're going to post. You don't need, you can post the Excel file if you want, but I'm just going to look at this one. And so this is really the what I want to check for this assignment. Okay, so you're going to post the Word file, or you can save it as a PDF or whatever. But you're going to post the Word file here. All right, so just post your Word file there, and that's your assignment for this one. So all you need is um, the graph, which has the historical closing price over time for your stock, and you want to have the summary for May for your stock, which shows how you got the forecast. Okay, the last two observations divided by two, and just throw in your average error and your MAPE. All right, and then a little summary of how you got the forecast for May for exponential smoothing, which is always going to be 0.9 times the last observation plus 0.1 times your last forecast, and then just throw in your average error and your MAP. Okay, and that's really what you need for this assignment. So, okay, everybody, all three of you got all this, and you want me to do anything else again? Okay, so if you've got this, I mean, if you're done with it now, you're done with the assignment. You can post it. It's technically not due till next Monday. Um, so just save the Word document, post it in the Excel file, all right, and that's what I'll double check. Um, but I think that completes the assignment if you got this for your stock. So go ahead and post that, and I think that's what we got for today. So thank you for joining. It was a small class today, but I'm glad there's at least three of you to do the assignment. And so the rest of you who are uh, doing this via watching the video, let me know if you have any questions. But that's it for today. And thanks for joining, and have a good weekend.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too.